today? Today we are going to talk about feedback for intercultural teams. Have you ever been in situations that you thought that you understood everything, but you actually didn't? You heard, very interesting. You thought they were impressed, but in the end they actually meant they didn't like it at all. Or you heard, with all due respect, you thought they were listening to me. However, they actually meant that you are wrong. How often have you been confused during your feedback sessions? How often have you struggled to find right words? I remember the time when my team's morale and trust were down. We were struggling with alignment issues and delivery time wasn't perfect. My manager advised me to run Ways of Working workshop, where we built together with my team a culture map, which allow us to understand each other much better. As many of us working remotely nowadays, we could have teams worldwide. And I believe that understanding intercultural aspects is as important as understanding the difference between ML and I nowadays. I'm Alisa Tikhova, I'm engineering lead in IO, and I'm running two different teams with people from Brazil, Italy, Turkey, Egypt, Venezuela, Portugal, India, Georgia, Germany, and Ukraine. Yes, I have 10 rappers from 10 different countries working in 6 different locations and 4 time zones. And I want to highlight the importance of understanding each other so we can build the best environment for our teams and our leaders to excel. Ourselves as leaders to excel, sorry. And today we'll create a map for intercultural team together. Let's start building our map by dividing people into 4 different groups. For those who use low context, explicit messages, and high context, implicit one. And for those who provide direct and indirect feedback. Let's start with low and high context. When we are talking about low context culture or ways of communication, we usually mean timely, clear, and explicit instructions or feedback. In a high context culture, things work differently. You need to learn how to read between the lines and infer what speaker actually means. With high context feedback, it's important to pay attention not only to the message that is said, but also to the body language, general context, the emotions of the speaker. You should also consider your relationship with the speaker. Let's move to an example. If you want someone to close a window in a low context culture, you will say, "Could you please close the window?" However, in a high context culture, the message will be different. It's a bit chilly in here, and the person should understand that he needs to close the window. In a high context culture, if you want to take someone, in a low context culture, if you want someone to take an umbrella, you will say, "Take an umbrella, that is rain in the forecast." However, in a high context, "Look, it's a bit cold, cloudy, and gray today. And you should understand that and take an umbrella." I am Ukrainian. I grew up in a high context culture, so it's pretty easy for me to understand such type of messages. However, if you aren't used to such type of conversation, you can train the skill. You can start being more observant about the situation and start asking questions to compare your understanding and real message. With feedback, we have similar situation. That is too expensive. An example of direct feedback. Don't you think that is expensive? This is indirect feedback about the same situation. Usually in indirect feedback culture, we don't provide a statement. We ask a question from the perspective that maybe we don't understand something right. To give a more complicated example, you made several errors and incorrect assumptions in this report. Go back, check your data, and proofread your work. Clear instructions, what was done wrong and what should be checked. However, for indirect culture, that could be taken as something rude. That's why we use a question here. It seems that there might be some mistakes in this report, and readers may question some of your assumptions. Could you check it over another time before finalizing it? As you can see, completely 2 different styles. That is why direct feedback for indirect person could be taken as something rude. However, indirect feedback for direct one could be considered as unimportant.
I hope you're enjoying this video, but did you know LeadDev has a lot more to offer?
When I think about LeadDev, I think about bricks and hearts. Bricks are those foundational things that you need to know, and LeadDev provides that through webinars, through videos, through cutting-edge research. But hearts are the things that you need to glue yourself to the people at work, and LeadDev does that through conferences and meetups.
Make sure you check out leaddev.com.
As you can see, the feedback topic isn't the easiest for me either. To be honest, my first performance review didn't go as smoothly as I wanted. That is why we decided to take an advice and run ways of working workshop. But together with my team, we built our map, which helps us to understand how we want to be treated and what kind of feedback is more comfortable for us. The most impressive highlights from this workshop were understanding that when my Egyptian colleague saying, "Can I make a suggestion?" it's his way to stop or pause a conversation. However, for German co-worker, the same statement means that Egyptian would like to suggest an idea, so he was really surprised why the conversation was stopped. Another one, maybe I missed something that was said. I learned that when someone's saying this message in my team, this phrase in my team, I shouldn't understand it as a request for more context. It's a way to express surprise or complain. It's not a call to action. It means to highlight that they missed something, and only. As a result of this workshop, we built a set of rules that we are using in our team. Say what you mean and mean what you say. It's a great reminder for high context culture that not everyone can read between the lines. Before the workshop, people weren't specific, but now they're talking directly about their concerns and feedback. Tell them what you are going to tell them, then tell them that you have told them, and make sure they understand. It's another great rule. As a feedback giver, you should check that person understands your message correctly. As a feedback receiver, it's your responsibility to check that you understood everything right. Before the workshop, our employees from indirect culture were getting upset by direct feedback getting from German colleagues. After introducing this rule, they realized that German team members never meant to hurt their feelings, but they were simply explicit as possible to avoid misunderstanding. So now everyone feels more comfortable during receiving the feedback. Next one, practice listening more carefully. Listening is a key for all teammates. To provide valid feedback, you should first learn how to listen to your peers. After our workshop, I recognized some key culture differences of my team and start listening to keywords for different colleagues. So that has helped me to uncover different issues and to be a better leader. Provide feedback with care. It's important to deliver the feedback with care, based on observation and from the place of curiosity. Before the workshop, during feedback session, I was focusing on providing solutions, but after, I started asking better questions to understand their reasoning before working on solutions together. This allowed my teams to feel more involved and accountable. Build your feedback loop. Providing feedback is a skill, which could be trained through continuous practice. After the workshop, we started doing 360 degrees review quarterly, so we can practice our feedback loop and be a better version of ourselves. By understanding my team's preferences for feedback, we have grown as a team, and our results have improved significantly. We achieved 95% of our OKR goals in previous cycle. We cut our release time in half and increased team happiness by 15%, measured by employee survey. And now it's your turn to improve feedback sessions. First, you should start by defining different culture aspects. Then you need to build a map so you can see where team members are from and what culture aspects do they have. And finally, set up some rules. Make sure that your team is getting feedback in the way they prefer and performing in the highest level as possible. Thank you.